Hello everyone, Carlos Flores, back on basics. So, before we begin this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so you can get notified of any new videos that come on board. If you have a question, if you have a suggestion, if you have a topic, or if you want me to give you my take on anything, put it in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to do so. If you want to connect with me on social media outlets, on Facebook, you can search for me at Carlos Flores Jr. On Instagram, on X, and on Threads, you can type in at Back on Basics. So, before we move forward, I want to thank again the 511 subscribers to this YouTube channel at Back on Basics 9985. I want to thank you. I mean, keep it coming. Right? If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's not glitz and glamour. There may be some funny videos here and there. There may be some informational videos. Not informational, but more like landscaping and things like that. You know, just pretty sceneries and everything. Things that people want to see or not want to see. And so, again, subscribe to this YouTube channel at Back on Basics 9985. And make sure that you look at the library that I have. I mean, there's over 600, I think, longer videos. Actually, there's over 600 shorts as well, both in Spanish and in English. There's different things that you can look for, things that you can search for. But remember, everything goes back to here and now, the present moment, because that's the basics. That's a basic foundation. Back on Basics started because I think as human beings, we tend to make things very difficult, very complex. Why do we make things complicated? Why can't we just break it down so that way we can all be successful? So that way we can all use our superpowers to get to our goals, to get to the activities that we want to do and the activities that we have to do. Why do we have to stress? Why do we have to feel anxious? Because there's so many steps, right? To completing an activity, to completing something at work, something at school, something at home. But, well, you know what? What I would recommend is for you to chunk those activities. Divide the activities that you're going to have to do anyways into smaller chunks, into smaller number of activities. Like, for example, if you have an activity that's going to take you 20 steps, guess what? You can divide them by either 2 steps at a time or 3 steps at a time. I wouldn't go more than 4 steps at a time, because then you'll start going into like fourths or halves. And then, you know, sometimes that doesn't work either. It slows you down a little bit more. But if you do 2 to 3 steps, right, at a time, guess what? Once you finish the first 3 steps, hey, you're motivated because you're done with 3. Now you have 17 left. Now you do the other 3. Hey, guess what? Now you're down to what? 13, actually 14 steps, and then you go 3 more, and now you're down to what? You're down to 11, and then you do 3 more, and 3 more, and 3 more, and guess what? You're not gonna notice that you're gonna get to the end. Why? Because you're dividing the steps in equal steps that are manageable for you, and you can focus on and getting to the end point. Remember, my recommendation is do things in the here and now. You know, put the past in the past, put the future in the future. It's okay. You can set them aside. You can move them to where they belong for now. So that way you can focus on the activity that you need to do or you have to do or you want to do. Example, right? You know, sometimes I have to write papers. What do? Well, I chunk it. You know what school teaches you by creating an outline is the perfect thing that you should think of, right? You create step by step by step by step, sub-steps if you need to be, and then you'll see what you need to do, how many steps that you need to do, and if you know the total number of steps, again, it's an estimate, right? It could be less, it could be more, but again, right, you're estimating. This is how you're going to divide these things. This is how you're going to chunk these things apart. So that way they're manageable. So that way, every time you complete a group of steps, you're going to gain motivation, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to gain that focus So that way you can move forward again. You're going to be more in tune to being in the present moment because you can adapt. You can bring in your support system so they can help you. You can do a lot of different things. And so, again, make sure that when you have a big task, you break it down into manageable steps, right? And if you can't do that, then bring in your support system and they can help you suggest how to break them apart. How many steps can you do at a time? Because believe me, the steps are going to be there regardless. You can do them all at once, which tends to be difficult for most of us. I mean, we tend to get overwhelmed. We tend to get anxious because there's so many steps. We don't see the end point in sight. But if you divide them, if you chunk them into manageable steps, right, then you'll be able to get to the end. You'll be able to do 2 to 3 at a time, and then 2 to 3 at a time, and then you take a break, 2 to 3 at a time, and then you take another break. Guess what? Or you don't even have to take a big break. You can take a micro break, ladies and gentlemen. So that way you can move forward. And if you're moving forward, you'll get to your end point. You'll get to your success. You'll get to the point where you wouldn't even know that you finished. It'll be awesome. And then what do? You celebrate your completion. You celebrate that you have completed, so that way you can have that, so that way you can have that closure. In psychology, closure means that what you're doing is you finish something. In your mind, it may think that it still keep on going. When you have closure, it means that you're saying, this is where it's finished. This is where I'm closing it. This is where I'm celebrating because I just finished a big task. I just finished a manageable size task. I just finished something that I've been putting off for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So again, ladies and gentlemen, focus, right? Create an outline. See how many steps you have. Divide those steps into manageable steps, right? Do those in chunks. And then if you want to take micro breaks, 3 to 5 minutes in between those, or take a little bit longer break. But again, the more you do this, the more your mind will become balanced and sharp. And then you'll have mind and body, emotional and spiritual balance. I mean, it's amazing. It's the power of repetition. I mean, if you repeat, we human beings, we tend to like repetition because it becomes automatic, right? But how do you get it to automatic? By doing what I just told you, by creating a list of all the steps that's needed to be done for that activity, by dividing each chunk into different manageable steps, number of steps, so that way you can get it done sooner and you can actually gain momentum from the steps that you finish to the next steps that you finish until you finish the entire activity. So again, it's like doing this video, right? It's like at the beginning, I do the kind of like check the boxes, right? Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Back on Basics 99.85. Hit the notification button, right? I talk about the activities. I talk about posting in the comment section if you have questions. I also talk about connecting with me on social media outlets. So I go over Facebook. I go over the Instagram and Threads, and then after that, my mind is so focused then that I go straight into the video right before I thank all of you for subscribing, for giving me likes, for doing comments, and again, right? See how much by the time I get to the topic, I've already processed so many different steps that I break them down into different chunks that by the time I get to the topic, my mind is racing. My mind is creating ideas. My mind is bringing up experiences that I've had. My mind is ready to give you suggestions that you want to accept or not accept. And it's okay. Remember what I said, right? And again, this YouTube channel is not going to be like a glitzy kind of thing. Facts. I'm just going to give you resources. I'm just going to show you how to put into work. I'm just going to show you how to be mindful and how to be humble. I just want to show you that if you help others, you'll learn from their successes and their mistakes. So again, focus. Write down your outline of steps. Break them down into manageable steps. Chunk them. Do them. Take breaks, micro breaks in between, 3 to 5 minutes in between those chunks. You know what? You'll get to the end. You'll succeed. You'll complete your task, and then you either rest or you move on to the next one. Back on basics.